with my afternoon coverage here with two defenses that are really, we know the Browns statistically one of the best defensive teams in the league, and that's what's made them the contender that they are coming into the season. Browns, everyone kind of saying, hey, maybe the Browns can finally, with uh, Watson in there and whatnot. But it hasn't necessarily worked out with Watson all the time because of his injury. And now you look at this afternoon's game and Walker likely in there again. So what will that mean for the Browns here necessarily in this one on the road against the Seahawks? You guys are already coming in, maybe here, Seahawks for Jacoby already. How about that? So the Browns won a couple of close. They're coming off a couple of close victories, no doubt about it. And you see this total here, pretty reflective of what we've seen with uh, talking about these two defenses being so solid. And we know Cleveland, right? I mean, their defense, but it's Seattle, the team that maybe their defense, I don't know about overlooked or what, but now you look at how statistically they are starting to compare with other teams. And Ferner here on the under. Seattle's won and covered four of their last five games. Um, all of a sudden, things are looking pretty good for the Seahawks. Blake says Watson will never, yeah. Well, and could he have ever? I mean, other than winning a bowl, right? I mean, when you're talking about a contract like that, and um, I love it when Thomas's phone says things incorrectly and it makes funny sentences. And Double says just roll with underdogs today. Why not? And why would you want to trust Seattle as a home favorite here? Uh, to me, right? I mean, okay, sure. Walker, look, did when Watson was in, was anybody really saying, "Hey, we really want"? Now I know we have Cleveland folks in here. Sometimes the Cleveland folks stop by and say hi, but could any Cleveland fan necessarily really say that they would prefer to have a guy in there like Watson over PJ Walker at this time? I don't think so. I mean, I was like, you don't want to root for an injury, but uh, when Watson went down, he was kind of sitting there with his legs stretched out. He wasn't in pain, he was in pain probably in some way, but uh, the way he was sitting, you're like, why wasn't Walker in here anyways? It it almost felt like a little bit selfish. Like Watson, there's pressure, and when Watson came out this week and said, "Hey, um, I'm. Do you think I want to miss time? I've worked very hard and put all the other stuff aside, put all the jokes aside, and all that. Remember coming back from a serious injury here. Now, you can say what you want about players who might be soft, might be injury prone, might be willing to say, "Hey, I don't know, I'm injured. Let's take myself out of the game." But I don't know right now. Walker can manage a game, especially with the defense that they have. You do got to possess the ball. You do got to put some points on the board, but you got to think this is, that type of game now. There were some crazy look aheads that had this one much, much higher, but that was, before we started to see what maybe Seattle had. And there were signs that this defense was going to be above average, but maybe not among the top defenses like we're seeing, other than the fact that that's what they kind of do in Seattle, but maybe the just we don't have the sometimes the personnel that we've seen on some of their defenses, but they'll always be at home, especially, the extra yard, 5, 10, 15 yards that they're going to get from you know, uh, procedure penalties and the like. So I'm going to take the under in this game with these two teams if I'm going to talk up the defenses like that. And you have pedestrian Walker out there. Um, hey, Browns, can they run the ball? Sure, I think they can. Does Seattle have a decent defense to stop? Yeah, but I know there for all the talk about, oh, this is not the Geno that we were necessarily expect. I think Geno had his moments a little bit where we're like, wow, look at it. Geno comes to see, and he maybe overachieved to a certain extent, or with some of his passing numbers. I mean, he's got great targets. We know that. So I think you can get 37.5 out there as well right now. But I'll list it at 37. Um, uh, for the second day in a row, I'm having pen issues. I've lost my pen. I never do. And 2 days in a row here I have. So let me just my big head in the way. Grab another one and get started here. So give me the under here with the Browns and the Seahawks. I'll take the under this afternoon. Let's see what Ferner he's talking about. Some of those ticket money 65% count on the over, but wagers are on the under. Does that mean 65% of the money is on the over, but the higher percentage of wagers are on the under? Is that what that says? So I don't know. I am that guy. I try to interpret but I don't push it on anybody. I'm not saying you don't do that. I'm saying great, Ferner. Thank you for your report on that. But I'm a ticket count guy. Not much on the money. I'm more concerned about the tickets. Anyways, give me the under here, and I'll probably maybe have something here on the side. We'll see. I got 3 plays in the afternoon slate, so I'm taking the under those my free play in this one with the Browns and the Seahawks. Basically, if I've got two good defenses, I got the Browns. They're looking to run right. With the Browns look, it was unfortunate that they lost their star running back, but doesn't it seem like, look, even Hunt, just pick him up off this, you know, was he retired? Was he just working out, waiting for the call? Whatever. He wasn't joining on the other team. Comes in and looks pretty strong, right? He looks strong. He looks big too. He looks not bigger than I don't know, a different type of runner maybe than he always has been, or maybe he kind of has been that guy. So hello to Perky today, or Perky. Maybe it's his son, maybe it's his grandson, maybe it's his dad. Hi, Perk. So that's anyway. That's what I feel. The Browns, they still can run it. They'll look to run it. They got Walker. They got to manage the game. Seahawks, obviously, they're not all that. That offense, especially against the Browns defense, right? So give me the under in this one. The Kansas City Chiefs and Denver Broncos NFL action for Sunday afternoon for the Chiefs coming on the road here to take on the Broncos. And well, maybe that line was a little bit higher to a certain extent. I saw as high as 9 or so here with the Chiefs and maybe the Broncos. Hey, um, I don't know what you call it, whatever Sean Payton did. It's definitely did set the team back again a little bit, where after they were trying to kind of, they bring him in, whether things worked or whether this was the plan or not, if it was a purge or whatever to get rid of personnel who just wasn't going to do it that the Sean Payton way or whatever. But you don't want to turn back the clock too far with older players and whatnot, but the Broncos have played just a little bit better of late, so much so that the move here is kind of Well, it's on the Broncos. And, um, you know, for the Chiefs, look, they're still, championship caliber team. You're still putting them at the top with Buffalo, with Miami right now. Who else do you want to put in there from the AFC? Can you include the no, obviously not. Nobody would include the Bengals. It does feel like the Bengals, got in there and earned their chance that they still could be that team. But who else can you consider right now um, in the AFC? But for whatever reason, and look, this has been everybody knows the Chiefs own the Broncos. They've won 160 straight games against them, or something like that. And they also cover the spread when they face the Broncos. But I mean, how many trends? How many they the moves on the Broncos aren't the squares going to line up to lay a touchdown on the road here with the Chiefs? Man, at least give us a hook or something, players. Are the books that savvy and sophisticated? They're willing to keep this down when it was as high as 9. Yeah, are there some you know declines with the Chiefs of late offensively? Do we take it for granted? Do we take the Chiefs for granted? They'll just go out there, win the game, maybe not cover. I don't know. McKinnon is probable. Justin Watson is probable today. So I'm probably gonna try to find a way to get on these Broncos. I don't think they can win, but this 16 game streak has to end sometime. Denver's not great. Is this situation getting better? I'm not even sure about that. But the game just, what was the 2 weeks ago they played at Kansas City. Kansas City was a 10.5 point favorite. They covered the spread for most people. Hello to Mark Lee today. Blake says, I will take the Chiefs for granted and I'll take the Chiefs, I think is what he said. Verner says, go under here in this one. You look, you got a road favorite. I did allude to on one of the shows this week. I don't think I said it here, but it looks like I think Derek is saying not hard. I think he's saying um, this is Chiefs. And right, so Darren says they're the Broncos offense, but not they can't cover this. And Ray says they can't trust them at this point. So, like I said, I guess the books are just giving free money away with the Chiefs at every Joe Square. Not that you guys are square. I mean, you guys are here. I think for a reason we're hanging on to the 3 or 4 dozen people that we do every day that really understands, how to play this game. And that's what I respect about you guys coming in here. We're not throwing darts, and we have to be on sometimes. Uh, it's kind of like trying to be honest with somebody, right? And I think sometimes we all can be guilty of not being truthful when some people need that. Don't call it criticism, okay? I mean, there's no reason to. But for the Chiefs, um, yeah, I mean, is there complacency, whatever, in their season sometimes? They end up not covering, they win. Um, so Broncos 11-6-1, last 18 games as a home underdog, and they've been a few times a home underdog kind of late. But Denver, look, they've got to not give up the late score like in the first half, right? Because you know that Mahomes is the king of getting that late score in the first half, and this is where Denver kind of struggles. Hey, hello to Brown Beats here today. Everyone's going to be on the Chiefs. I'm that guy. I'm your Huckleberry today. I'm on the Broncos here against the Chiefs. Just get away. And right, Ray says, look, it was 9, and maybe it was even 8.5, whatever it was, right, Ray? There's no doubt it was not 7. The books didn't open at 7. I'm showing a little bit of movement here on the total. It's basically back at 45 and a half, and maybe even 46. So this one looks to be going up a little bit. I will say, thank you, Derek. You and me, kid. Let's do it. Or old man or man, Derek. Nice to see you. And thank you, Thomas. Thank you. And Blake says the books are who we do battle with. Yeah, to a certain extent. Although the books, they're trying to just take 10%. They're trying to get it right in the middle. And they have to anticipate where the money's going. You got to think the Swifties can get into the end zone. Reports are, and Taylor looks like she's not attending very many road games. I think the Jets game was different because that was in New York, and she lives there. I know where she lives. So, uh, reportedly, Taylor Swift will not be at. And what's going to happen when we get to the playoffs? I don't know. I mean, look, I might be a little bit more, you know, extreme than you guys. You guys are just out there handicapping. It's all about the sports. I went ahead and I checked all of Taylor Swift's concert dates, and when her tour resumes, the Eras tour is going to resume, and the playoffs are going to be going. So what's going to happen, right? She's already look. Everybody said, why doesn't Taylor Swift do the Super Bowl? She wasn't hasn't been asked to do it. Her tour coincide. I mean, she would literally have to. This is how much I have researched it. Now you guys are really going to think I've gone off the rails here, but this is why you guys are here with me, right? This is what makes our show the first look every day on YouTube live, and Steam plays are coming in. This is what we specialize in. But the Eras tour, her tour date will end. She would literally have to get on a plane, fly straight to the stadium, um, and it's in here in Vegas, right? And get here right at game time. Maybe at game time. Maybe. I mean, it's that close. So, Perky, wrong chat room. All right. I got you, Blake. And he's kidding and he's serious. Seemed like it's funny. We'll talk about it. Let's move on. But anyways, give me the Broncos today. I've got to side with the bookmakers, right? We're in competition with the bookmakers. I know, and everyone says let's bash the books, and I know that I'm not trying to be condescending to any of you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. Check that weather. But I appreciate I appreciate you guys so much. But to me, the bookmakers, those are my buddies. I look for clues in the line. I try to anyway, and it's not a be all end all. I mean, you still got to go out there and play the game. But here, you guys said it. A few people said it right. The Chiefs were 8. The Chiefs were 8.5. Maybe even the Chiefs were not. And they're 7. Have the Broncos played just a tiny little bit better? Has even Russell Wilson even played just a tiny bit better? Yeah. Yeah, just a tiny little bit better, the Broncos. And again, look at the big picture, new ownership, ton of money, change in coaching staff, for better, for worse. Looking back, I don't think this is going, this will be the Sean Payton prove me wrong, right? I kind of want to root for Sean Payton to a certain extent. Part of me doesn't necessarily. Isn't it interesting that one of the I don't know. You talk about some of the more prominent female gambling commentators, and Sean Payton's daughter is one of them, Megan Payton. If you know who, maybe you know who that is. You've seen her on. I call these, Tony and the other channel who went up. She might be one notch or two kind of above the, but she definitely is a gambling. That's where she's been, and I'm sure she looked more mainstream there. And sometimes people are using the gambling to try to think it's a stepping stool, but it's not. You should be involved in the gambling commentary space, but she does a good job. So Megan Payton. All right, give me the Broncos. Let's move on. Hey, what am I doing? Okay, big news here, but I think we saw this news kind of breaking last night that Brock Purdy, the quarterback who never loses, is going to be in there now for the Niners in this one against the Bengals with that concussion. Now I'm trying to remember. I thought they said no one had come back from a Tuesday concussion protocol. And so I don't know. Anyways, Purdy's in there this week. Trent Williams still questionable. That's the big issue for what went on, right? Look, no problem when they lost that game. Trent Williams, like I said, you could list maybe the top 10 players, maybe the top 20 players. You got a lot of quarterbacks, but Trent Williams, I mean, you know, you're not going to find many offensive linemen on the list of the best uh, 10 or 20 players in the league. Depends how you rate your offensive linemen. I get all that. But, uh, you know, not many better or more respected than Trent Williams. He was out of that last game, and it was hard for the Niners, no doubt. And again, you could lose a player, but I'm just saying when a guy like Williams, who's very durable, uh, you know, if something like that were to happen where he gets hurt, eventually you could replace him and get someone in the fold, play that unit together, and they could start to get back. But once you take one guy out just for the short term, a little bit of chaos. Things get stabilized with an offensive line as weeks games go along. That's why 1 week a line could look very very bad and kind of bounce back next week. A week of practice together, knowing what your guy next to you is doing right. When it's I don't know how. I never played offensive line. I watch a lot of football. I talk to a lot of coaches in my. I think I know what's going on. Hey, I want to say hello to Lorne Doiron. Pleasure to have you here. And Lauren goes with the Bengals in this one, and Blake's going with the Bengals. Darren's going with the Niners. This is a good game, right? I mean, this is could be a Super Bowl in a way. I'm sure the Bengals got a ways to go to get back to where they were, or where say where they were. I mean, we're just talking recent, but last year basically in the big games in the AFC, but it feels like they have declined a little bit. Um, well, these two teams, they played some Super Bowls to, together as well. So, anyways, for me with Purdy back in the lineup, I'm kind of liking what I see here with the 49ers back here. The line currently still sitting under a touchdown, and maybe the Niners can get back here a little bit. And this number, pretty fast riser. Concerns about the Bengals still here, maybe moving forward. The Bengals and the 49ers getting to be at full strength, but Thomas looks like here on the Bengals. But Williams is a key name that we're kind of looking for today um, in this one. Thank you, Blake, for all that. Appreciate it. Werner on the Bengals. So you guys are on some Bengals today. I'm going to take the Niners here to get back to their rolling ways. I think the Bengals actually have enjoyed a little bit of success here of late, and I hope they can continue to still recover. But not today. I'm going to try the Niners here and get with them to lay the points. Maybe down to 5 even at some places here right now. I don't know if we'll go much lower than this. Purdy in today. Um, I respect what you guys are doing here on the Bengals, and I don't even know if it is by Derek. Um, maybe it is. Maybe these guys are that good. Maybe the Niners are that good. I actually feel a little bit uncomfortable. I just want to play the. I want to play the Niners. I feel like the spots the Niners. I'm almost disappointed that having to lay a little bit here extra with Purdy, but I think I would rather have him in there and uh, lay the extra points than lay the 3.5 or whatever it was going to be without Purdy in there. So this one's not going to make my premiums as far as the side is concerned. And I'm not giving up on the Bengals, but I just think this one may be a little bit tougher today. All right. Kind of wanted to go uh, through a few. I kind of wanted to check the weather back when we were talking about that Denver game because certainly saw that before the game that the precipitation was scheduled, but I thought maybe by game time that would kind of clear up. So, all right. Londo says, "Do I like some Bengals?" I'm going to be on the Niners here in this one. I was hoping it would have been a little cheaper. Like I said, I might have considered. I'd probably be more excited with a pretty. It's close. All right. Derek does say Niners. Ray says Niners, and right. So the Niners, they've kind of had some scares, right, of late, and like I said, and the game without Williams, and again, it might be without Williams today too. That does actually concern me, but I'm going to try him here at home in this one. Brown Beats wants to go over, and this total, interestingly, you talk about um, Purdy's return to the lineup, and this total was opened as high as 45 and a half, 46 for the most part. Purdy's been announced in now for, I don't know, 18 hours or so, right? Or whatever it was. The total hasn't moved higher, but the Niners moved high, moved a little bit higher like we were anticipating. So that is interesting. And one other interesting note about this, I may have mentioned it one time on this show, but I mentioned it on another show as well. But uh, in talking about some of the totals trends, with, for example, talk about the road favorites and all that. Um, there is a little bit of strange dichotomy with the early games and the late games that have been going on this season. Um, so stop me if I've kind of covered it here. I don't want to bore you. These are the late games that I'm covering, but let me just say this: the early kickoff. So this doesn't count any prime time, right? So we have prime time. That's a separate category. I think we could all say there are like three different. There's prime time, there's early window, and there's late window, and there's London. Whatever, London's a different category. Early kickoffs this season, the games that start at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, have gone 34 unders and 21 overs. That's pretty solid, I would say, to the under. 34 and 21 to the under. The late window, the game's played at 4 Eastern and 1 Pacific, 425, 125, if you will, and 405, 105. The late games, however, are just 13 and 14 to the under. They've been flat. But listen to this: over the last 2 weeks, they've all gone under. I believe there might have been one over, whatever it is. It might be 1-7 to the under. It might be 0-8. So those games are starting to go under as well. They started off like I want to say either 12-5 or 13-5 to the over, but now they're all starting to go under in the late games. It's a league wide trend, so I know that some people are just going to throw that out. But hello, airplane boop. Baltimore Ravens are going to take on the Arizona Cardinals. NFL action for Sunday, and the Ravens here on the road laying a pretty big number. Kind of scary to think about here with Ravens and the Cardinals. Okay, the Cardinals, you know, they're a hard trying sort, aren't they? You almost feel bad. to a certain extent. They do. They're trying, but now they've failed to cover in four straight. They've lost four straight. They've failed to cover in four straight. They've lost by what, uh, 10, 17, 14, 19. They're getting outscored uh, 3.5 to 1 in the second half. They're giving up 27 points a game in the last 5 games. They've lost 17 of their last 20. And for the Ravens, they are coming out like gangbusters. They have outscored opponents 77-9 in the first half in their last 4 games. They've been just terrific. And the defense, of course, back to being Baltimore if they ever were not. I mean, this is a constant. For whatever reason, Baltimore strong defensively once again, allowing just 6 touchdowns on 79 drives this year. But the one thing they don't do well is cover spreads on the road when they're favored. They're just 3-8 in their last 11 games as a road favorite, including 0-1 this season. So this is just a tough situation for them every time. I'm not taking the Ravens. No way. I'm on the Cardinals. For sure. Yeah, they're 1-6, and they're not even covering spreads. This has to be the one they're going to get the money in. And let's see here. With Ravens should roll, says Londo. Okay. I get it. Darren says Lamar here. But for me, I'm on Arizona. There's not a lot of good things to say certainly about Arizona, but they've gotten a few covers here and there. Look, for losing 17 of the last 20 games, they have covered 7 of their last 17, 7-10 against the spread. That's a losing record, but. And Chad says, look at this. They're coming off a huge public win, stay away. And look at that total. So you mean to tell me with a total of, 44 or so, 45, the score of this game is headed for 27-17. And I'm not sure they can get them. I don't know. We'll see if the Cardinals can produce anything. Dobbs, so far in his career, he's 1-8 as a starter. So, look, the players support him. They, fire him up. When he makes a big play, you want Dobbs to do well. By some points, says Derek. Londo says they'll win it by 2 scores. They could, they could lead by 2 scores and still give it up. Uh-oh, Londo. Yeah, Cardinals, can we put them as the worst team right now? Yeah, they probably have fallen below the Bears, right? Or whoever else we want to. I don't know. Who else do you have in there? With the Cardinals, the Bears. I mean, the Panthers, maybe, right? They're in the bad group. All right. I'm going to take them. I'm taking the Cardinals. This is professional football. So give me the Cardinals at home here. Londo's got the Raiders in that group. Uh-oh. Give me the Cardinals here plus the points in this one. All right, in Sunday Night Football, my Chargers are going to take on the Bears in this one tonight. The Chargers getting the prime time treatment with the Bears here at home. Big favorite. You don't want the Chargers as a big favorite. I don't, right? I mean, who does? Who wants the Chargers to roll somebody? Come on, against the bag boy? Bag boy, what you gonna do when he bring your touchdowns? Come on, man, the bag boy. This is his first NFL road start. He's 1-0 as a starter, uh, record-setting quarterback, Division Two. So we're all about the bag boy. Everybody really down on uh, the Bears' new quarterback, at least for this, for now. And who knows? Maybe he will. Maybe this man has been lost. Uh, for some reason, whatever reason, he did not, become a. Maybe it was his size. Never was a Division 1 football player, but he set all the records in Division 2. He won the biggest awards in the division. So why couldn't he go on? This is professional football. And what happens is this one reason why you see such a cross section sometimes. Not everybody's from Alabama and SC, Texas, and the NFL. You do have a mishmash of players from different levels and different sector. Some that linemen that you know, played at smaller schools just because that's the way it is. And when you get into the professional setting, it changes things for people, or their skills become enhanced because they're playing around other professionals. Sometimes you brought down to a level. All right, let's see what you guys are already cranking up here on some of these. Uh, Thank you, Thomas. Hi, James. Pleasure to have you. Well, James, if you were gonna start with your first $20 and new to sports betting, I don't know, what your goals are. What do you need from that $20? Do you have? Are you gonna buy a $20 pizza tonight, but you'd like a $30 pizza instead, or do you have the $20 and you wanted to buy pizza for your family and friends, but you don't mind if didn't have the $20 and didn't buy pizza for your family and friends and maybe had no money to buy yourself a pizza. So there's two different there's different trains of thought, James, as far as how to do sports betting. Unfortunately, because luck plays such an important factor in games, we often think we know what's going to happen, and unfortunately, it doesn't go that way. The bounce of the ball, the referee's call, or just a bad break or two can, uh, you know, change things. So if you were looking to take that $20 and maybe have $100 by the end of the season, I think a more sound strategy of taking um, you know uh, e- teams that maybe would be expected to win, uh, uh, and get a small return on that investment possibly, but you didn't want to lose that $20 in just one day. So what I probably would end up doing is taking my $20 and placing as many as uh, 10 $2 bets on the teams that maybe that I'm reporting to you here on this show. Uh, Maybe you could go through a few of my videos and just divide that up. I don't believe that your best strategy here is to take that $20 and put it on one team, for example. I want this money to last us. I want to try to grow this money and making it an income type of money, because obviously if you had $20 here and you could increase that by 10% by the end of the day, that would be pretty solid, really, in the big picture. Although we're talking just a small amount in comparison to maybe what people might be doing that are watching this channel. Like I said, one man's pittance is another man's fortune. So I would look to keep that bankroll alive. James, we have $20 to spend. I want you to keep playing this great game of sports betting. So I would look probably to maybe take all of my games here, maybe that I mentioned, and just $2 each. And then hopefully by the end of that one, for maybe the first 5 games, hey, if we go 6-3, all of a sudden we're gonna, probably be up to, uh, you know, uh, What you guys help me out? Well, we have $1 left over or $2 up, $26, right? Then we go into those afternoon games and do some more $2 bets. So then we go 3-1 in those, right? And then all that's pretty good. Then we'd be up to what, 31 dollars. So, anyways, that's a kind of serious talk about it, James. Thank you. Chargers should roll. The Bears are the worst team in the league, Londo says. Here's Ferner. Says, give me the under here in this one. I don't know, man. Herbert will light you up. Feels like. But can they get the money here? Jacoby, I don't know. Does he think the Chargers are going to win 8-5? Or are they going to go 8-5? Right now they're 2-4. So we weren't expecting the. I wasn't expecting the Chargers necessarily. I mean, I do expect the Chargers to be 2-4 actually because yeah, they should. Well, they already are. I mean, I'm ashamed as a chart. Look, I have some shame. No, Perky, I'm not. We'll just touch on him if you have a question or comment. But we had talked about on Thursday the early games. Yeah, no, that's I. And look, this guy knows what he's doing. Right. Here's another thing. This guy knows what he's doing out there. Right. He's got the support of everybody. Right. He obviously looks pretty popular with his team already. I don't know if necessarily nobody on the team likes Justin Field. I don't think that's the case at all. But all right, Derek wants the points. I'm taking the points. Of course, I'm taking the points. Come on. I'm not laying any points with the Chargers ever at this point. They can barely win a game, and you think they're going to be able to cover the Bears 2-5, Chargers are 2-4. Sure, Chargers are favored at Chargers are at home, but they're when they say Chargers going to charge or stuff like that, that's what we're talking about. The team is you know the problems are underlying throughout the whole organization. Practically impossible for them to do anything right in the long term uh, to a certain extent, and cover a spread. Probably should save it for a premium, but just want to, I hope they. I'm a Chargers fan. I mean, you guys. Some people like teams. Hi, Peasy. And still, great. Like I said, great suggestions on but I can't take somebody else's. I was going to go with that. I'm trying to come up with my own name of my play of the day. Ramon Scott. Everybody's got some kind of catchphrase. It seems like I can't come up with one. If he wants a $20, yeah. Look, I mean, if you're, a, you know, $20 lock, I guess I could recommend just taking any one of these games, and I don't have a lock. Just take a pick and put it on there and hope for the best. Remember, we're all realistic in here, knowing that we're just trying. If we could get 55, 56, 58, 59% of our wins, we'll do it. But like I said, if I'm like sitting there and I'm about $20 and I'm like, man, I really could, I really need $30 tonight. And I'm, trying to figure it right. I'm a sports bettor, and that's the only way I know how to do it. I can't go get a job. I can't invest this tonight. I've got one game, and I got a $2 favorite on like Sunday Night Football. I'm probably gonna, even if though like we don't want to lay a $2 favorite money line, right? We already know. We don't. Probably gonna do it. I'm probably gonna go like I need $30 by tonight. I've got a $2 favorite in Monday Night Football. It's my last $20. I need $30. Probably just gonna go put it on the $2 favorite and root for the best. And if I lose, well, what's I'm already gonna be sleeping on the curb tonight. So, all right.